Welcome to the Rental Licensing Inspection and Lunch and Learn webinar series. This series is presented by our Neighborhood Services Inspectors and for the Planning and Code Administration Department. We're going to walk you through a rental inspection, and we're going to cover different aspects of a rental property, room by room. This is not a full comprehensive review of an inspection. What we're doing is we're covering the most common types of items we come across during an inspection, and we don't want you to use this as a checklist for you to be able to go through and make sure you're compliant with everything. It still is always the responsibility of the property owner to make sure that you are compliant, or that you're compliant with the applicable codes. For the next couple of weeks, we're going to be taking you through what an inspector will be examining during an inspection. This is a way for you to better understand what staff are looking at while we conduct a rental inspection. At the end of the webinar, we're going to open up to any questions that anyone may have that's watching as time allows. To ask questions, you can certainly just either click or tap on the Q&A button that you see on your screen, whether it's at the bottom or the top, just depending on how you have it set up. And there you can submit any of your questions you may have in the chat. So today we're going to be walking through an uninhabitable basement for the inspection. Mike is going to be your inspector here for today. Mike Sable has been is certified as a international property maintenance inspector here with the International Code Council. So now I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and he's going to lead you through the basement.
Folks, how y'all doing? Basically, when we come in, again, it's going to be an uninhabitable basement. I'm going to start you down the stairs when we come down. Now, these stairs here are blocked off, but we're going to use them as an example of what we're going to be looking for once we start down the stairs. I'm going to be looking at the treads, making sure that we have full treads the whole way down and they're secured properly. One of the things I'm going to be looking for is a handrail. Handrail being on either side. It has to be graspable. It has to be fully graspable the whole way down the stairwell. We're looking for it to be 34 to 42 inches from the top of the tread up to the bottom of the handrail. One of the questions I have had asked to me before is from landlords and owners. Do they need a handrail if they're going to be locking off the basement? Yes, you still need the handrail for that, because you're going to have maintenance people, you're going to have other people using it, having to come down here, and it's required. One of the things we're also going to need, and you can see here that this one's fully closed on both sides, but if you have any of your stairwells that are open, you're going to need some type of guard that comes down through, and it's going to be required by code. So that's also important with that one. One of the things we're going to be looking for is to make sure that the treads are, again, they're not broken, we're not missing any. If I've had it where we've come down the stairs, and at the bottom two treads have been broken, and you have cinder blocks stacked there, you can't have that. They need to be replaced. I'm also looking at the stringers to make sure that the treads are properly attached to the stringers, and to make sure that they're secured properly to the residence or the unit itself, and they're safe to come down. Once I come down through, we're going to be looking at everything. I'm going to be making sure, checking the cleanliness of the basement. I'm going to be looking for infestation. We're going to be looking for cockroaches, water bugs, mice. If we see that, that's going to be a violation, and the owner's going to have to rectify that. One of the things that I'm going to be looking for is cleanliness. You can see on the stairs again, the dirt and the debris. I'm going to be requiring them to clean that up, and the stuff that's stacked up on it. Once we come down, you can see I'm going to start making my scan across the room. The walls, I'm going to be looking for chipping and peeling paint first. Then I'm going to be looking to see if there's any cracks, any holes, large holes in the unit itself. Down around the basement, I'm going to be looking again. We got debris here. It's uninhabitable, but I'm going to still require some cleaning down here for this. Chipping and peeling paint on the walls, that will need to be corrected, and you can see it down through here, the spalling. The other thing we're going to be coming over to is the panel box. The panel box, when I open it up, one of the things I'm going to be checking is the inspection stickers, see when it was last inspected and installed. This one was in November of '08. This is a 200 amp panel. I'm going to be looking to make sure that all the breakers are properly labeled, which they are. I'm going to making sure all the knockout panels are still intact. I'm going to be looking on the outside also to make sure that those are also intact too, and there's nothing as far as safety goes for this. One of the other questions we have regarding this is when the landlord or the owner wants to secure the basement, can they do it? If the panel box is down in the basement, no, they cannot. The tenant must have access to the panel box, so they can't secure the basement. If the panel box is outside or someplace else where it's not here, or in any of the cutoff switches that are supposed to be emergency shutoff switches, or outside the basement, then yes, they can. But with this down here, no, they cannot lock off the basement. I have a GFCI right here. That's one of the things that I would be checking to make sure it functions properly. We'd be resetting it, checking it again, going up to the upper one, making sure it trips, checking that, going back in to make sure it resets, and we're good. Coming across here, we have a window here. Once I get to the window, what I'm looking for, because it's an uninhabitable basement, plywood over the windows is fine for that. But if there was glass in here, I want to make sure that the glass is fully intact. There's no cracks or holes in it. And when cracks, I'm talking large cracks all the way through. That would be a violation and an issue we need to address. Also, the framing, I would make sure that the framing itself is weather tight and there is no rotting of the frame itself. Actually, I have some rotting here in the lower corner. That would be addressed. And we're looking down below, and I got maybe appears that there was some water intrusion at some point here we would be talking about. One of the things, because this is ground level, we would require a lock on this so that it can be secured so somebody can't break in, or this one is shut and secured so it doesn't open, and that would be fine. One of the other things that I'm looking for is as I come across here, I see there's a pretty good crack here in the foundation. I'm going to be addressing that with the owner and what I'm looking for is structural integrity of the foundation itself. I'm looking to see if there's any bulging of the foundation. Water intrusion again coming through. This is something that the owner would have to work with and fix and correct. Once we're done with that, I'm going to be coming up here looking at the open rafters. I'm looking to make sure that the rafters are not split, broken, or cracked, that they're able to carry their load, live and dead load weights that are required by code. Looking at the wires coming across. Now, actually, I have two wires coming straight underneath the rafters here. Important with those, you cannot use those to hang anything on, and that's what I'm going to be looking for. Right here, I do have a bar here that they use, somebody installed to hang laundry on. That's okay, but you can't do it on your wires here. Light bulbs. We have to have light in the basement. We have to have at least lighting with one workable switch that they can use. At the other ends, once that happens, and a pull switch is okay for that. And that's really about it for what I'm going to be looking for down here. Paul?
All right. Great. Well, thanks, Mike, for taking us through the basement here and letting us know what we're kind of looking for. I want to just reiterate, Mike didn't call for everything that's going to be addressed during an inspection. We're just, giving the high points of the items we typically come across. We, as always, we do appreciate everyone's feedback. We've been getting a lot through these series here, and it always helps us improve each time. And I'm hoping you're seeing that as we go. So please just continue to provide us with the feedback. Our goal, as I said before, is always just to give you a general overview of what an inspection's looking at here. So, if there's specific questions that you may have related to your property, you can always email us at codecompliance@hagerstownmd.org where we can answer those. But now we're going to open it up to any general questions that there may be for those. So I have a couple here. While these questions are coming in, I'm going to ask Mike to make sure we kind of covered everything here. So, Mike, can a landlord lock off a basement then? Is that going to be allowed?
That's a yes and no question. And again, we go back to if we have our electrical panel down in the basement, no. If we have our emergency shutoff switches for like a fossil fuel burning furnace that's right outside or right inside the basement door, no, you can't lock it off. They have to have access to it. If those things are outside the basement itself, then yes, they can lock it off.
All right, and then also sometimes in these older buildings in Hagerstown, we have just a random toilet that has water to it and can function. Is those allowed in the basement?
Random toilets in the basement, as long as they're fully functioning and they don't leak, anything like that, yes, they are allowed.
Okay, and then one of the questions I have here is that, so I have a light here in the basement that I need. So I need the light to look down to get down the steps and then I can go down to a pull chain if I walk into the basement. So after I went down our steps here, could I get to a pull chain later then?
Yes, and that's very good. Yeah, you need one at the stairs so you can see down the stairs and you can actually walk down the stairs safely. And that has to be a light switch. But then once you get down in here and you have light down here, you can have a pull chain off into the basement itself.
All right. So as always, we tried to limit these to 10 to 15 minutes here. We're kind of gotten to our max time here. So if anyone has any questions again that you want answered, and you can always email us at codecompliance@hagerstownmd.org so that we can answer those. Again, I thank you all for being part of this webinar series. Please be sure to follow us on all of our social media platforms. We have Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So just look for PCAD Hagerstown for each of those platforms and follow us. Again, I'd like to thank you all for participating in today's series. Please sign up for the next webinar that will be Friday next week, and we'll be going over mechanical, plumbing, and laundry areas, and a little bit more on electric. They'll be new next week, and invite will go out later today. Thank you.